Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're all about cutting through the noise, getting straight to what really matters. And today, we've got a story, a really compelling one, maybe a bit heartbreaking, honestly. It shines a harsh light on retirement planning.
Yeah.
Or maybe not planning enough. Our whole focus today is unpacking the lessons from just one source. But wow, it's powerful. It's a transcript from a YouTube video by a guy named Michael Douville. He talks about an 81-year-old friend, someone who retired with $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
$1 million. And now he's struggling badly. And a big part of why comes down to what he thought was being, conservative. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is how this one very personal story, it just blows up into these huge universal questions for basically all of us, right? It's not just about one person's choices. It's really a case study in, financial planning, how we think about risk and maybe confronting some assumptions we don't even realize we have about the future, especially how long we'll be around.
And when we say struggling, I mean, it's serious. Douville says his friend at 81 is flat out broke. He's working again, 36 hours a week, just paying for rent and electricity. Just imagine that for a second. 81 years old, working almost full time just for the basics. It's, pretty grim.
It really is grim. And this raises an important question, doesn't it? That contrast. Having $1 million, which sounds like so much security, and then ending up with, $1,000 to his name? No reserves, nothing. It's stark. It just powerfully shows the kind of strain that happens when, frankly, you live a lot longer than you thought you would. Douville says he needs another $3,000 a month just to break even. That's a huge gap.
Yeah, a huge gap. And Douville points out he hasn't got that luxury. The luxury for things maybe other people his age need, like hip replacements, knee surgery,
right.
Things like that. It just makes you think, how does someone start retirement with $1 million and end up here? What went wrong?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it? And it really circles back to his planning or maybe his assumptions about his own lifespan. So he retires back in 2003, got his $1 million, and he genuinely thought, okay, this will last me the rest of my life. But why? Because, and he told Douville this, I didn't think I was going to live very long. Didn't see himself making it to 81. The plan was basically retire, have a few good years, and then, pass away. That assumption just drove everything.
Wow.
And Douville, at the time, he actually gave him some advice, said, look, put some income into the portfolio. He specifically suggested real estate rentals, even told him, no hassle, property managers handle all the work. But the friend refused. Yeah.
Just like that. Why? What were his reasons?
Well, Douville recounted them, and they're pretty revealing. First, it was, I don't want the hassle of owning real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then, I don't want to take the risk. Standard enough, maybe.
Mm.
But years later, he apparently admitted the real reason. He said, I was afraid. Specifically afraid that I would do something wrong.
Mm.
Yeah. So he decided, I want to be very, very conservative with this money. And here's the kicker, the real paradox. That conservative choice, because it was based on getting his own lifespan totally wrong, it actually turned into this incredibly high-risk situation later on.
It's kind of a dark optimism thinking, I won't live long so I can just spend down this pile. I suspect, maybe a lot of us have that fleeting thought when we think about planning way, way out. But Douville doesn't just leave it there. He gives his own experience as a kind of what if. He talks about his own real estate rentals. Even during the great financial crisis, the GFC, in Phoenix, Arizona, no less, which he calls a worse place to be during that crash.
Right, and it's such a key point he makes there about the difference in assets. Douville's line is simple. People need a place to live, always. So yeah, businesses were failing. The whole economy felt like it was collapsing back then. But his rents, he says they never faltered.
They just kept coming in.
Kept coming in month after month. He actually called that rental income stream a lifeboat for his own finances when everything else felt like it was sinking.
A lifeboat. Okay,
yeah.
So the what if. If his friend had taken that advice back in 2003, what could things look like now?
Oh, the contrast Douville paints is just dramatic. He basically says, if the friend had bought those income properties, he would have enjoyed a rental income and cash flow for the last 18 years that would have grown.
Even through the crisis.
Yeah. Douville insists that even during the GFC, rents kept going up. It's surprising, but basic needs, right? So the hypothetical outcome, it's pretty staggering. After 18 years, that friend would have had an income that would have doubled, maybe tripled since 2003.
Doubled or tripled income.
And that's just the income. On top of that, the property values themselves, it would have more than recovered, probably doubled from 2003 prices. So you connect the dots. Instead of being 81 years old and broke.
Could be.
81 years old and a multi-millionaire. That's Douville's conclusion. It just perfectly illustrates that difference, you know? Market value risk, yeah, that goes up and down. But income stability, especially from something essential like housing, that can be incredibly resilient.
Wow. Multi-millionaire instead of broke.
Yeah.
That's a tough pill to swallow, imagining that alternate reality. And Douville makes the point, this isn't some freak occurrence. He says this situation happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
His advice, especially for baby boomers, but really anyone thinking long term, is pretty straightforward. Get at least 2 rentals in your portfolio. Better yet, he says, 10 or more. So, what does this all mean? What should we take away from this really sobering story?
Yeah, I think if we connect this to the bigger picture, there are some really crucial takeaways here for everyone listening. First, obviously, the huge importance of planning for a long life. Seriously planning for it, even if you feel great now or don't expect it. Longevity risk is real, and maybe we underestimate it.
Yeah.
Second, how fear, even if it's dressed up as wanting to be conservative, how it can lead to really terrible outcomes if it stops you making, well, calculated risks that generate income.
Right. Inaction as a risk itself.
Exactly. And finally, it just underscores the value of looking seriously at income-generating assets. Things like rentals, that they can be such a vital part of a long-term plan, especially as a hedge against, market swings and just the basic need for cash flow when you're not working anymore.
It really is a powerful story. That arc from $1 million thinking retirement sorted to being 81 and working just to cover the bills. It's just a stark reminder, isn't it? The choices we make, the assumptions we hold, they really do shape where we end up. What feels safe today might actually be the riskiest path long term.
It really might be, and maybe that leaves us, and you listening, with a final thought to chew on. How do we need to redefine conservative in financial planning today, especially knowing we might live a lot longer and facing the very real risk of running out of money? What does safest truly mean now? Is it avoiding all risk? Or is it maybe strategically taking on certain types of risk, like income generation, to protect against an even bigger one down the road? Something to think about.